So today I'm going to show you how to make Smurfette. Now for her head, I already have the head on my channel and it's the same head that I used for the boys. So you're going to need this before you start this video. These are the supplies that you're going to need to complete her. So you have your blue, white, and yellow. I've also added my magic ring wildflowers that you can find on my channel. The link will also be down below in the description box or above in the iCards of this video. So I'm going to get started and I do hope you enjoy. So we're going to start off with 7 single crochets in the magic ring. So you're going to take your first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now with your hook, you want to bring your bands through one at a time. The other end on your hook, top loop over, and bring it to the side. Going back in for your second band to bring through on your hook and the top 2 loops over. And you'll just continue like that. Your next band through on your hook, 2 loops over, and bringing it to the side. And just continue. You want to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook and remove off the loom. You should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is on your hook. For rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, you're just going to do 7 single crochets, adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. It doesn't matter which Smurf you're making, all of their arms are blue. So just to show you even Smurfette. Now, when you get to the last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So just so you can see with the last band, just bring your last band through all of the loops and tie it closed. After I complete round 2, I am going to show you how to attach 2 sewing bands to the arms. So for right now, we're just going to put this to the side and I'm going to do round 2. So going in your first chain, we're going to do 7 single crochets. So each pile I have 7 bands. So at the end of each round you should have 7 stitches. So bring your band through and move on to the next chain. All the way till you get to the stitch marker. I have my bands organized so I won't be using the stitch marker. So there's 7 stitches again. And when you get to the end, you're just going to remove your stitch marker and you just want to attach 2 sewing bands. So I am going to put my slip knot to the side and not going in the stitch right beside the slip knot, I'm going to go to the next one. And I'm going to go straight across. And bring my band through and do a slip knot, to secure it. And one more. So I'm going to go right to the edge here, to the side, so it's even with this one. And do a slip knot. And tie it closed. So now you can pause the video and complete your rounds and come back to me when you're done. Now we're going to do her hair extensions and it's just 25 chains of 12. I have done 24 already. So I'm going to do one with you and then you're going to pause the video and make the rest. You can see that I didn't use the bottom part of my loom because I'm going to use that to make the magic ring of the legs. So I'm going to be doing these with my hook. I find them just as fast. My first band, I'm going to use this as a cap band to wrap around my hook 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 loops. I've used 4 because I find that the extensions just stay straight down rather than just using 3. Now using 12 bands, you're going to make a chain. Bring your cap band on, grab your end, and then just continue. So I've just done a chain of 12, and I'm just going to attach it to my loom. Attach it to anything that you have, but you're going to need to keep them so that you have them for later and they don't fall apart. So you can pause the video and create a total of 25. Now we're going to make our legs, and I'm going to show you how to do one, and then you're going to pause the video to make yourself another. So I'm going to start off with 6 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now pull 6 bands through, one at a time. So I reached in, grab my first band and bring through, other end on my hook, and the top loop over. Bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band, bring through, on your hook, and now bring the top 2 loops over and bring it to the side. And you're just going to repeat going back in, bringing your band through, on your hook, 2 bands over, and just continue. Attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook, remove it off the loom, and move your bands around. You should have 6 stitches. For round 2, we're just adding 2 bands to each chain around. So doing 2 single crochets in each chain. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 12 stitches. So we're going to go in our first chain and bring 2 bands through, one at a time. So there's 1. Go back in to add your second band. And now going to the next chain with 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. And just repeat until you get to the stitch marker. Should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to increase on every 4th chain. So you're going to do 3 single crochets followed by an increase. 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this 3 times, and at the end of round 3, you're going to have 15 stitches. So I'm going to go in the first 3 chains with 1 band. 1, 1, 1. And then the 4th will have 2. Now my increase, so doing 2 single crochets in that 1 chain. And just repeat 1, 1, 1, 2. And repeat one more time until you get to the stitch marker. So you want to remove your stitch marker. You should have 15 stitches and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to do 15 single crochets. So I have 15 bands, 5, 10, and 15. And you're just going to grab the inside loop only. So just the inside loop all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. So going to the first one, bring your band through. So you should only have the 2 loops on your hook there. Bring it through that inside loop and slide. The next one, so just the one closest to the center. All the way till you get to your stitch marker. You can remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1, 1, 1, followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm adding an extra band. 3 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. You're going to repeat this 3 times, and at the end of round 5, you're going to have 12 stitches. So I'm going to go in my first 3 chains, 1, 1, 1, with 1 band in each. So not where it's getting pulled, just your next chain, or your first chain for this round, the next chain, and the third chain. Now I'm going to do a slip stitch in the next 2 chains and leave it on my hook. So going in my next chain, do a slip stitch, the next chain with a slip stitch. So you have 3 loops and then slide. You want to repeat this again, 3 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So a slip stitch in the next 2 chains. Three loops and slide. Repeat this one more time. And a slip stitch. Three loops and slide. So you should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 6, I'm changing to the blue color. So we're going to start off with a slip stitch automatically because I'm changing to blue. Now the pattern is 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'll be adding an extra band. 1, 1, invisible decrease. You're just going to repeat this 3 times. Now on this row, we are going to grab the inside loops only. So I'm going to go to the first one. So even when you're doing the decrease, the invisible decrease, you're just grabbing the inside loops only, all the way around. So I'm going to go to my first one, not where it's getting pulled. And I'm going to bring my first band through all of the loops that are on my hook because I'm changing the color. My next chain, just a single crochet, inside loop. Now my decrease, 2 slip stitches. So this is 1. Leave it on the hook. The next inside loop only, slip stitch, 3 loops and slide. And repeat. And repeat one more time. Now you want to take a little bit of stuffing, and this is where we're going to fill. But first remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. You should have 12 stitches. And now you want to add just a little bit of stuffing so you get the form of the shoe. For rounds 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're just doing 9 single crochets a round. So you're just adding one band. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. For round 7, I'm going to do with you, and you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. When I am complete round 7, I'm just going to show you that the last band, you're going to do a slip knot, and then you're going to add a little bit of stuffing to the leg, which I'm going to show you as soon as I complete round 7. So you're going to go in your first chain, knot your little slip knot, and bring one band through. So each pile I have 9 bands, and at the end of each round you should have 9 stitches. So all the way until you get to the stitch marker. Careful not to grab the stuffing. I have my bands organized, so I won't be using a stitch marker, but if you'd like, you can add it to the band that's around your hook. Your last band, you're just going to do a slip knot. So going in and bringing it through all of the loops to tie it off. Now you're just going to remove your stitch marker, and then you just want to add a little bit of stuffing to fill, kind of like support the leg. I'm going to use a pencil to help me stuff. So this is what it should look like when you're done. So you can pause the video and come back to me. Round 1 of the legs, you want to make sure first we are going to attach these doing 18 single crochets. Just make sure that the legs are facing forward and that they're the same size. So this is the pattern. I'm going to start here, and I have 18 bands here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around. And your last band, you're adding your stitch marker. I'm going to start here, so I'm going to take the first 2 chains if you put the legs together, and the first 2 chains are right here. I'm going to go on either side, grabbing one chain on both sides, and bring my first band through. I am changing to white color. So bringing my band through both of those chains on my hook and then slide. And now going to the chain right above, so on either side, 1 and then 2. And you're just going to single crochet around. So there's my second band, bringing it through both of the blue chains, on my hook and slide. Now from the inside to the outside, you want to go to your next chain and grab your next band and bring through. And then just go around. So I just brought 9 bands through. This is my 10th one. If you open it up, I'm going to grab this blue chain right beside where I just grabbed last and bring my 10th band through. Now the 11th, we're going to skip where this white is, and I'm going to go to the next blue chain over and bring the 11th band through. Now the rest of the chains are pretty visible, so you can just go around. So I just brought 18 bands through. Attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. And where we start next will be this blue chain right there. For round 2, I'm going to increase on every third stitch. So the pattern is 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 6 times, and at the end of round 2, you're going to have 24 stitches. So I'm going to go in my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, but this little blue chain that you see right there. And you're going to do your single crochet. Now your next chain is not this little slip knot there, it's on the side of the leg. So on the other leg, go through and do your second single crochet. And your third chain, you're adding the 2 bands to do your increase. Back in and repeat. 1, 1, 2. Continue until you get to your stitch marker. I'm just going to pull my slip knot. So you should have 24 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to do 24 single crochets, adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. So just going in your first. I'm going to do part of this round with you, and then you're going to pause the video. So you can see I have 24 stitches. 6, 12, 18, and 24. So you can just pause the video, continue until you get to the stitch marker. For round 4, again we're going to do 24 single crochets, but grabbing the outside loops only. So the loop that's in the back, all the way around. So I have 24 bands, 6, 12, 18, and 24. So at the end of this round you should still have 24 stitches. So not starting where it's getting pulled, and just grabbing the outside loop, the one in the back, all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. Still have 24 stitches, and remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 5 and 6, you're going to do 24 single crochets, adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I'm going to do part of round 5 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. So I'm going to go in my first chain and bring 1 band through. The next chain with 1. So please pause the video. You want to continue till you get to your stitch marker and come back to me when you've completed round 5 and 6. For round 7, we're going to decrease on this round, so we're going to start off with our invisible decrease, adding an extra band. Then we're going to do 20 single crochets, so you can see I have 10 and 20, followed by an invisible decrease at the end. So we're going to start off with our first 2 chains, adding a slip stitch in each. So not where it's getting pulled. Do a slip stitch and leave it on your hook. And the next with a slip stitch, 3 loops, and then slide. Now do 20 single crochets, 1 band in the next 20 stitches, chains. So your last 2 chains will be stitched together. So my last 2 chains, you just want to do a slip stitch in each, leave it on your hook, and the last chain, slip stitch, 3 loops, and slide. So you should have 22 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 8, you're going to do 22 single crochets, adding 1 band to each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. So I have 22 bands here, so at the end you should have 22 stitches. I'm going to do part of this round with you, so don't start where it's getting pulled. Go in your first chain and do your single crochet. The next, so you just want to continue and get until you get to the stitch marker. So you can pause the video and come back to me when you're done. For round 9, we're going to decrease on this round, and I'm going to start off with 18 single crochets. So I have 9 and 18. Then I'm going to end with 2 invisible decreases, so adding an extra band. So I'm going to go in the first 18 chains with 1 band. 1, 1, 1, 1. So going in the first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and just adding 1 band. 1 single crochet. You can just continue. At the end of this round, you're going to have 20 stitches. So I have 4 chains left, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is where our decrease is going to be. So in my next 2 chains, I want to do a slip stitch, leave it on the hook, the next slip stitch, 3 loops, and slide. Now let's repeat that one more time. The next, 3 loops, and slide. So you should have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 10 and 11, we're going to do 20 single crochets, adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I'm going to do part of round 10 with you, and you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. Each pile I have 20 bands, so you should finish with 20 stitches. So starting in my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and bringing 1 band through. And the next. So you just want to pause the video, continue until you get to your stitch marker, and come back to me when you're done. For round 5, I'm going to change to blue. So we're going to start off with a slip stitch. I'm going to do 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So it's 1, 1, invisible decrease. I'm going to repeat this pattern 5 times. So I'm just adding an extra band. At the end of round 12, you're going to have 15 stitches. So I'm going to start in my first 2 chains with 1 band in each. Not where it's getting pulled. You'll go in your first chain, bring your first band through all of the loops because you're changing color. Now your next stitch with 1. Now your invisible decrease, slip stitch, the next, slip stitch, 3 loops, and then slide. Repeat 1, 1, invisible decrease. And repeat. You're going to repeat all the way till you get to the stitch marker. Three loops, and then slide. Should have 15 stitches, and remove your stitch marker. I'm going to do 15 single crochets. So I have 5, 10, and 15, adding 1 band to each chain. I am using blue again, and this is our last round for the body. So your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm going to go in my first chain. It's over here, not the white, not your slip knot, your first chain. And bring your first band through. The next chain with 1. All the way till you get to the stitch marker. The last band, do a slip knot, so bring it through all of the loops and tie it off. You should still have 15 stitches, and remove your stitch marker. And this is what you should have so far. If you have the little slip knots on the legs sticking out, you can just bring them through to hide them. Round 1 of the skirt. What we're going to do is 36 stitches. And this is the pattern. I'm going to use Just Davy's technique for her half double crochet. So in my first stitch, which I'm going to show you in 1 second, my first stitch is going to be 1 half double crochet, so I'm going to use 2 bands. My second stitch will have 2 half double crochets, so it's an increase in the next stitch. You're going to repeat this 12 times. So I'm going to go here, then over here. So at the end you'll have 36 stitches. Where your stitches are, you're going to have maybe a hard time to find it, so let me just point it out. If I put my finger inside and I kind of open it up, that little stitch that's going sideways, that's inside, that is your stitch that you're going to use. I'm going to grab that because normally I would grab this outside one, but I'm going to grab the inside one because it's really hard, and this is like my 5th time trying to show and demonstrate how to do this, and I just end up going crooked. So this is the stitch that I'm going to grab. When you are doing your stitches, if you can't see, just put your hand inside and kind of open it up, and you're going to see that stitch that's going sideways. And that's just clearer than any other stitch around. So I'm going to start at the back and anywhere you'd like, and I'm going to grab 1 band and bring it through and leave it on my hook. My second band, I'm going to bring underneath the first chain and on my hook, so I have 3 loops and they look like this. And I'm going to slide. Going to the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 half double crochets. So just repeating what I just did in the last stitch, bring it underneath the chain on the body and on my hook, so I have 3 loops. My next band, I'm going to bring underneath the first chain and on my hook. So when I have 4 bands, that's when I'm going to slide. Now grabbing that stitch on the body, again, that same one to do my increase. Bring your band underneath the chain and on your hook. Bring your band underneath the first chain and on your hook. When you have 4 loops, then you slide. So going to the next stitch on the body, I'm going to bring my band through the chain, my next band underneath that first loop and on my hook. 4 loops and slide. So my next chain is going to be my increase. I'm putting my hand inside so I can see it. Bring my band through the chain. When you have 3 loops, you add a band underneath the chain, first one, and on your hook. And when you have 4 loops, slide. There's my increase. I'm going back in that same chain on the body and repeat through the chain and on your hook. 3 loops is when you add underneath the first chain and on your hook, and 4 loops is when you slide. Now in the next chain, 1 half double crochet, so I'm just opening it up. Band, because I have 3 loops, I'm going to add a band. When I have 4 loops, I'm going to slide. My increase is in the next chain. Bring it through. 3 loops I add underneath the first chain always. 4 loops and slide. And then going back in. Slide. So I think you can pause the video now, and I will come back at the last 2 sections. So I'm at the last 2, and I'm just going to continue. And then my last band, I'm going to add my stitch marker to the band that's around my hook. in. And add the stitch marker. Don't pull this band. And this is what you should have. Oh, I just realized I started it at the front instead of the back. So that's okay, I'm sorry about that. I didn't even notice I was at the front. Now for round 2, I'm going to do 36 half double crochets. So it's up to you if you'd like to do 36 single crochets, but I will be doing the half double crochet on each chain around. Now when you're going around, you have to open it up and find your chains. So I'm going to go in the first one. And just as we were doing before, we're just adding a half double crochet. So you're band through your chain, and you're band through the first loop on your hook and then slide. 4 loops and then you can slide. The next chain, again, half double crochet. 3 loops is when you add a band. 4 loops is when you slide. The next, you're going to do this all the way to the end. And then your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So through your chain, band through your chain, on your hook, 3 loops you add. Underneath the first loop only, and on your hook. 4 loops is when you can slide. Repeat the next chain. Band through the chain. 3 loops is when you add a band. 4 loops is when you slide. So I think you can continue going all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. I will come back for the last 2 stitches, so I think you can pause the video and come back. So I just have 2 more stitches to go, and then I will end with a slip knot. So this is my last band, this is my last band, so I have the 3 loops on my hook. So instead of bringing this one underneath the first stitch, I'm going to bring it through all of the loops that are on my hook to tie it off. And do a slip knot, and then you can just bring your band through some of the stitches just to hide it, so it's not hanging around or hanging out. And remove your stitch marker, and this is what the skirt should look like. Before we start to sew her head on, what we're going to do is fill the body with some stuffing. So just grab your stuffing, and you're going to push some into the bottom part of her legs here and fill her body. So you're just going to push it in. Make sure you don't overstuff. We want the head and the body proportioned. So I am just going to use my hook and go in and pull some stuffing down. And that should be okay. Now to sew our head on, we're going to use 15 bands. So 5, 10, and 15. I'm going to fold the body in half, making sure that the points of her legs are at the front, and I'm going to fold it in half and find the band that's going sideways. And I'm going to do the same thing to the head, making sure that the eyes are centered and finding that band that's going sideways. And I'm going to bring my band through, and I'm just going to do 15 single crochets. So I brought my band through both of the chains, going to the next chain on the body and then grabbing the head. And bringing my band through and just single crochet. You're going to do that all the way to the end, grabbing the body first and then the head. Bringing your band through both of the chains and on your hook and then slide. And then just continue around, body first, head, band through chains, and on your hook. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. When you get to this part, you just want to make sure that the head is going on straight. If not, it'd be better to undo it now. Rather than waiting till you're done. Next, we're going to sew on the arms, and it's the same way that I do for the other dolls. And this is the last band, so I'm just going to catch both of my stitches and bring my band through all of the loops that are on my hook. And now if you don't have any stuffing right at the neck, you can go from like the neck down and from the body up and just move your stuffing around. So on her arms, and I'm going to use a single band for each to tie it off, and then we're going to make the straps. So all this is using 6 bands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a chain of 6. And then using 1 band to tie it off in the back with a slip knot. So first I'm going to attach the arms, and I'm going to attach it to the blue bands that you see here. So finding the center, or the side of her body, you're going to bring each sewing band through one of the chains. So going through, bringing your band underneath, the next chain, bringing your band underneath and sliding. And the last chain on the body, bring your sewing band through and slide. You want to check the placement, turn her around, and grab the stitch that you had as the sewing band on the arm. If you are using the jelly bands, you might have to grab a stitch on the body. The jelly bands the arms kind of stick out. Bring your band through all the loops and tie it off. And now for the other arm, the same thing, but find the placement so it's even. So I'm going to go through the blue stitch on the body, the next chain, the next sewing band inside, and the next chain. Let me just see. I grabbed that one. Turn her around, or you might want to just check the placement just to make sure, and grab the sewing band on the arm and do a slip knot. And just check the placement And you can hide your little slip knots by going through the arm, coming out right beside your slip knot. And hide it. Can hide that a little bit better. Now I'm going to do a chain of 6. So I am going to start somewhere on the body here. This one I started more to the front and just left an opening of 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. So I'm going to start right about here so I can have my next strap, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you just want to find your placement and do a chain of 6. Now with your 7th band, you're going to do a slip knot, so you want to turn her around. And again, just having it, I just went kind of like straight into the back. So I'm going to find my white chain on the body and do a slip knot. Grab the end and slide. And then you can just hide the slip knot through the back. And I think that you can do the repeat that on the other side. So I went 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just find your placement. So this is where I'll start my next one. Now we're going to attach your hair, and I'm just going to single crochet using our strands all the way around. I'm going to do part of it with you because I think it will be straightforward. And then I'll come back and tie it off with you, and then we'll do her bangs. So I'm going to start at the back, and what I'm going to do is use the bottom loops only. So I'm just going to be grabbing these bottom loops all the way around. So you're going to get comfortable which direction you would like to go. So I am going to probably have her this way. I just found this one easier for myself, and I'm just going to grab the one loop at the bottom. So the one that's closest to her head. And I'm going to grab my strands. I'm going to pinch my second chain so my first chain doesn't fall apart. And grab one end and bring it through. Grab the other end and slide. And that's one. Now going to the next one, just the inside one there. Grab your next chain, hold it, the second chain down so it doesn't fall apart, bring your band through on your hook and slide. So you're just going to crochet these around. The next one. Just making sure you're grabbing the bottom loop only. I can see I lost one of my chains. It fell off my loom. I'm just going to fix that. Grabbing the end. So I'm just going to take it off. Bring it through, and you're just going around. So I'll do 2 more, making sure that you're pinching. So just continue all the way around, and I'm going to come back for the last 2. So please pause the video. So I'm down to the last 2 strands so you can see what it looks like. And I'm just going to continue. And I'm at the center back, just grabbing 1 stitch. I'm going to try to grab it from the other way, the same direction I've been doing it. Now this last strand, you could either tie a slip knot here. What I'm going to do is use an extra band and go into the next chain over. Because if I tie this off now, it's going to have kind of a gap. So I'm just going to go through, grab and slide, and then I'm going to grab that same chain where I started and just do a slip knot to tie it closed. Now you could use a white, or it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go through the body and hide it, the little slip knot. And I'm just pulling the hair extensions kind of towards the back. Now I've grabbed 6 hair strands. I kind of went to the one piece of hair on this side right before the ear, and I've grabbed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you want to do that, and then with a single band, we're going to tie these together. So right now on your cap bands, you have 4 loops on each. I'm going to grab 2 on each. So there was 2, 2, to all 6 strands. Making sure that the chains are flat, you don't have them twisted. So I meant have them straight. So just like that. And I'm going to take a single band and tie it together. So it's like that. Now with another single band, you can even use white if you'd like, but with another single band, you're just going to grab a couple of the stitches, make sure that that slip knot is secure, and I'm just going to grab on one of the cap bands 2 little stitches and find the placement where you'd like to have it, and I'm going to grab about here, and I'm going to grab one of the stitches on the hat. And with a single band, I'm just going to do a slip knot. Her nose, I'm going to squish in. So now just adding the magic ring wildflower that I have on my channel. I'm just going to add one to her hair. So this is optional if you want to just add one, and I added a bunch to her hands and just one to her foot. So whatever you'd like to do, but you did leave off, or you are going to leave off in the video like this. What I'm going to do is just go to the next stitch right across, like that, and I'm just going to grab a stitch on her hair. It might be a little bit better if we actually just leave our last band on our hook and then just find the placement where we'd like to have it. So I'm going to grab the chain, and then I'm going to grab the stitch right across on the flower. And I'm going to bring a band through and do a slip knot. So I just chose green. Grab the other end and do a slip knot. And you can hide that band, wrap it around the flower. I probably am just going to choose to hide it, and I'm just fixing the petals by turning them around. And then you can just hide all these bands. Probably a little bit better by going through her head. So she's done, and I hope you enjoyed.